Let's see what you nigga. I ain't been on here doing a Q&A in a minute. Let's see who come up in here. Let's see who come up in here. Who up in the chat room? What's up, Trey Day? What up? What you niggas doing up this late? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? I got these at my AirPods on. Shit, ain't no intro when I'm on my phone. The intro is only when I'm on my computer. I say been on a little bit. I want to say what's up to y'all. Can y'all hear me? Okay, you hear me? Okay, cool. Yeah, I got these AirPods on. I'm gonna make sure. I said, well, I think about us not. I said, what I think about us not being able to go back to the moon? They can go back. What do you mean us? They can go back to the moon anytime they want to. They can go back to the room. They say you're going through heartbreak sober. Shit, sorry to hear that. Heartbreak ain't nothing to play with. Ain't nothing to play with, man. Get through it. Know that you're bigger than whatever heartbreak you're going through. Understand that. Understand whatever heartbreak you're going through, you 20 times taller than that. Get through it, shake it off, and get back to being you. Yeah, man. I ain't been on here in a minute. Like, y'all know how busy I've been these last couple weeks. I'm gonna get back to doing my show regularly this week. I'm gonna start uploading some content to the Patreon this week. Getting ready for my webinars this week. I'll let you know probably by the end of the week what my next webinar is gonna be. Get back to incense and ashtrays. What I think about Russia. He said it relies on the screen. What I think about Russia? Same old shit. It's just Europeans being Europeans. That's what they do. That's what these white folks do. Dr. Short been busy. I'll get him on next time he's available. Yeah. Shit, we both been busy, me and Dr. Short. Did I go to the New Edition concert? Nah, I wasn't. I was at the. I was at Smoking Grooves yesterday. That concert. It was all day. Smoking Grooves. The lineup was. I'm not even gonna mention all the names. This is just names I remember that went up yesterday. India Irie, Music Soul Child, The Internet, Miguel. Who else went up? Thundercat. Thundercat went up. Janae Aiko. What the fuck her name is? That I went to middle school with her big sister, Janae Aiko. What the fuck that black and Asian chick? Yeah, her sister went to middle school with us. Who else went up yesterday? Nas went up. The Roots, Roy Ayers, um, and Erica Badu, Kamasi. I mean, this lineup was stacked. This show was from 11 to 11 yesterday. Standing only, so shit. I didn't get my big ass there until about 5. Yeah, Dwelle was there. Man, that lineup was so stacked. I posted some video on my IG. Nah, today I was in wine country. Me, my wife, and my cousin. I got some cousins in town from Texas. We drove up to wine country, kicked it. Wine country about 2.5 hours north of LA. Yeah, let's see. He said, I didn't realize I was on screen. What's up, Ben? Ben Frank? Ben Frank, I think that was you that was trying to add me to Facebook. Or some nigga name was, or another Ben Frank. How you gonna friend request somebody but already be at 5,000 friends? So when you accept a motherfucker, you can't even add them. I think that was you, Ben Frank. There was another nigga named Ben Frank. I don't think I'll ever get to 5,000 Facebook friends. I delete motherfuckers so fast off Facebook. I delete people real quick on Facebook. Twitter and Instagram, I don't mind being more public, but when people be on Facebook talking that shit, I delete them so goddamn fast. What's up, Sinister? I don't give a damn what the NFL does with Deshaun watching. I ain't watching. NFL is donezo for me. Um, they call black people's bluff, and the way the NFL moved, the way they tried to punk black people in 2016, 2017, just put a bitter put a bitter taste in my mouth. God damn, I got a lot of mucus. I don't realize, man. I keep spitting up right now. My bad. I'm smoking, but it's not a smoke. I probably had about 3 bottles of wine today, maybe 4. Me and the wife went wine tasting. We stopped at 5 different wineries. So I made that drive home loaded. Yeah, Deshaun watching. Yeah, watching. I don't give a fuck. All I know is I still pay attention to what's going on. All I know is apparently I never really because Deshaun Watson came in after I was done watching football, so I never really saw him play. All I remember was it was all my friends who were I know a bunch of people from Houston. All my friends who's in Houston, they'd always talk about how good this Deshaun Watson dude was. And then I remember he was demanding a trade. Then right after he demanded a trade, all these allegations came out of nowhere. I was like, oh, that's just a setup. So I have been paying attention to like more so what's going on off the field with that whole setup with that case. But as far as on the field and Deshaun Watson's whatever happens with him in the NFL, I am the last person you want to ask. Talk to me about basketball or boxing. Mm. No, I'm not gonna watch that mini series about the dirty cops from Baltimore. One thing about him, I may watch it eventually, but I don't really watch that death and depravity, despair. It's like these days they only want to put black people on camera when there's some bullshit going on. All around the world, same song. I know how corrupt the police are in LA. So that means if they're that corrupt in LA, that means the same thing is going on in Seattle, Phoenix, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New Orleans. It's all white supremacy at work. So once you understand the system, you get it. Why do the Lakers suck? Because LeBron's on the team. That's why they suck. LeBron is out for LeBron stats. So that means the team will suffer. The team will suffer when there are only 3 to 4 guys playing defense and 2 of the guys, namely LeBron and Westbrook, are out for their numbers. That's going to come at the expense of the team. Yeah, the Deshaun Watson situation. I heard another thing. I heard the neighbor of the owner was a lawyer. And hey, let me tell you, black men, something, and black women too. Everybody listen. Pay attention to the moves, the big picture. Pay attention to the moves that are made. If somebody files a civil suit before a criminal suit, it's probably some bullshit. Because I know I've counseled for years. Everybody I know that I've counseled that actually got raped, the first thing they did before they filed any charges was go to the police. Well, unfortunately, a lot of rape victims don't file. That's the unfortunate part. People who really got raped, they don't file anything. But if they did get raped, they're filing criminal charges because the civil charges, especially if there's a criminal conviction, the civil charges are guaranteed once a criminal conviction is done. When it goes straight to civil charges, that means somebody's trying to play somebody. They only file civil charges because the police be like, nah, didn't nothing happen. So that right there let me know that whole Deshaun Watson thing was some bullshit. But yeah, this is people don't realize that LeBron made the second all time because LeBron is chasing the reason why. Let me go into my for you. It seems like I got a lot of fellas in here. Women don't like when I talk about sports, but since I got the fellas in here, let me tell y'all something about basketball. Coach DeWan talking right here, the nigga that done got niggas to the NBA. Let me tell you something about how this shit work in basketball. The reason why, because people keep asking, why don't the Lakers play Dwight Howard more? Why don't they play someone else at center? The reason why they're not playing other people at center and then playing LeBron at center is because the Lakers want to see LeBron James get the all-time scoring record in a Laker uniform, the same way Karl Malone did, the same way Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did, the same way Kobe passed Michael Jordan did. The Lakers want the top four scorer of all time that have done it in a Laker uniform. So the way to get that done is you play LeBron at center because can't no center in the league guard LeBron. See, he's slowed down. He's not the LeBron of 10 years ago. He's a little slower. So since he's a little slower, mostly all the small forwards in the league can guard LeBron. They can lock LeBron down. If LeBron's being guarded by a small forward, he's not going to score. So you have to put him on the center. No center in the league can guard LeBron James. Like LeBron is still faster than all the centers. The problem is you have him play center on defense, and he's not good at playing center on defense. He doesn't rotate in time. So the Lakers get what they want. LeBron gets what he wants. He can score at will, but the defense suffers. And defense is what wins games. So since the Lakers have him at center, they can't defend anybody. They can't stop any action at the rim. So for that reason, you get LeBron with the wonderful, gloriful stats, but you cannot win at the same time with that. In order for the Lakers to win, they're going to have to play LeBron at the 4 or the 3, but really the 4. At that point, they can get that happy medium of good defense. Oh, shit, I dropped my joint. I can't find that motherfucker. Damn it. Oh, fuck. Whatever. That shit was done. So that's what's going on right now. The Lakers are like, the Lakers are for the most part giving up on the season. They just running LeBron's point totals up. Yeah. It's sold off way too much for LeBron, yeah. Yeah, he had 22 accusers and nothing stuck. That boy is super innocent. What's up, Jaron 215? Yep, I'm a Laker fan too, John Knowledge Boy. I'm a Laker fan over any player. I was a Laker fan before I was a Kobe fan. Laker fan before I was a Shaq fan. Magic is the reason why I love the Lakers. So I gotta say that my love for the Lakers and Magic came at the same time. Magic's still my favorite all-time player to watch. And that's the thing. That's the reason why I don't like talking basketball with a lot of people because most of the men that watch basketball today are fucking broken. These niggas look at NBA niggas as they basketball daddies and shit. I be like, yo, nigga, chill. Chill. It's just a player, nigga. It's just a player. It's just a player. Calm down, calm down, calm down. Let's just have fun watching the game, and we don't have to talk about anybody's kids or how good of a father they are. That's why I be talking so much shit about LeBron James fans, because them niggas is weird. I don't even have any issues with LeBron, to tell you the truth. Let me give y'all a little secret. Sometimes I just be hyping it up. I really don't have a problem with LeBron James himself. I see him when I say him. Is he the greatest to me? No. He's top 10 to me. My, be- my shit talk become with LeBron James fans. You niggas looking for entertainment daddies. You niggas are fun to talk about. 'Cause let's just think about this shit for a second, fellas. You got grown ass men with kids telling their kids to look up to another grown man instead of themselves. If that don't surmise one of the major issues going on in America, in Black America, something that we can fix as a people, we can fix this. This ain't white. This is something white supremacy. This is something that we can fix. White supremacy can't do nothing to stop fixing this. If we could just get the black men to be as passionate about the greater good of black society as they are LeBron James and Michael Jordan debates, nigga, we can flip this shit 10 years. So when I see these Jordan fans and these LeBron fans on this, these are two infallible men ass shit. I, I talk all kind of shit about them niggas. Cause you niggas is what's wrong with black society. You niggas that do that, niggas that treat women wrong, and like I mean when I say treat women wrong, like fuck them over all the time, and like leave them with kids and don't take care of the kids. They're a problem, and the niggas that be going to jail all the goddamn time. Y'all niggas, if we could fix you three niggas, winning time. He said the Lakers are a tribute band right now. Shit, this you're right. The Lakers are the fucking Temptations. Otis is and LeBron is Otis. Otis is still the original Temptation. Like the Lakers are the fucking yeah. They're a fucking tribute band right now. Like the Lakers are basically the NBA, the LA Globetrotters right now at this point. And yeah, I'm watching that. I started that Lakers Showtime show, Winning Time. I just saw the first episode. That shit dope so far. And I tell you right now, when it comes to your son playing basketball, knowledge born, just keep it in perspective. That's all I gotta say. If we can just keep it in perspective, teach him the sport, but teach him the application of knowledge and with the information that you get, and he's gonna be more skilled than a basketball player. I used to hate seeing this shit when I used to coach. I used to hate seeing all those parents basically turn their kids into like wannabe Kobe's, and they had their kids playing in two different AAU teams and pushing them like, man, your kid 5'7", man, they ain't gonna make it. You better find some other gifts they got in these kids. It's cool if they play basketball, but they know other gifts. But if all they know is basketball, man, black folks, if your kids only know basketball, you get a football, you giving them a fucked up road, man. Yeah, I miss Charlie. Yeah, Charlie's my nigga. That's real talk, knowledge born. Yeah, they changed the name of the Staples Center. It's called some other shit. I still call it Staples Center. I don't acknowledge the new name of Staples Center. I was there game 7 of the 2010 NBA Finals. when Kobe and my Lakers beat the Celtics. That happened at Staples Center. Like, I was sitting right there on the 15th row. So, God damn it, this Staples Center. I don't know what this new arena is called. It's something arena. I don't know what this new. You gotta just Google it. I'll never call the Staples Center by its new name. I saw Kobe play at least 70 times in that arena. Shaq. Saw Kevin Durant play there at least 15 times. No, I saw Kevin Durant play at Staples Center at least 20 times. Like, I saw everybody at Staples Center. I saw a dunk contest at Staples Center, All-Star games, three-point contests. Nigga, I was there for Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. I was there for Errol Spence at Staples Center, nigga. I don't know the name of the new shit. I'm not acknowledging any changes in the Lakers during the LeBron years. These LeBron years are the worst fucking years ever for a Laker fan. Get this nigga out of here. You know what I'm saying? You can discuss Harden and Kyrie's playoff records if you talk about it in context. If you're just going to talk about them on the surface level, then you can't. But if you're going to talk about it in context, you can. Did I see Samaki Walker? That year they won that championship in 01. I went to like 3 games that year. I went to like three games that year. No, that was 02. Samaki Walker was the 01, 02 year Lakers. I went to like 2 games that season. I remember going to that. I remember that was Chick Hearn's last season announcing. He said, so I saw Katie at the Drew League. Yeah, the 01 Lakers were the shit, man. That team was fun. That was the greatest playoff team ever. 15-1. Notice when they talk about Kobe, how great Kobe was, they want to act like that 15-1 didn't happen. Yeah, I thought Samaki Walker was gonna be good too. Yeah, I remember Samaki Walker turned down like 96 million, and he ended up having to sign for like 5. Samaki Walker turned down like 91. It's like something like 91, 96 million because he thought he could get 120. Ended up getting like 5. I don't know who the number 1 pick of the draft is. I don't watch college basketball. College basketball is fucking stupid to me. Stupid ass zone defenses, coaches overcoaching the game, calling timeouts, nigga. Run, you didn't do this, nigga. Let them niggas play. I don't like college. I do watch the tournament though. Other than the tournament, I don't fucking care about college basketball. Yeah, LeBron is not built for LA at all. This LA don't give a fuck about stats. Nigga, do you know that there will be games that Magic would get like 21 assists in a game, and Lakers fans would never talk about it? They'd be like, "Oh, the Lakers won though." Did they win though? Nigga, in plenty of times Kobe scored 48 points and 9 assists and 8 rebounds, but the Lakers lost. Lakers would be like, "Yeah, Kobe had 49, but they lost." Lakers fans don't give a fuck about no goddamn stats. If them stats ain't tied to a win, we don't give a fuck, Chuck. Nah, Elden Campbell, hell nah. Elden Campbell been gone. Elden Campbell got traded from the Lakers in 1997, and that was the trade with Elden Campbell and Eddie Jones. No. Elden got traded for, he went away in the trade for, was it the Robert Ory trade or the Glenn Rice trade? It was a Glenn Rice trade. It was Eldon. and somebody else, they got traded for Glenn Rice. It was Cedrick Should that got traded for Robert Horry in '97. See, I told you my basketball memory be crazy. Check me out. Look it up. Y'all Google and find out if I'm right or not. Eldon Campbell got traded for Glenn Rice. Eldon Campbell and Eddie Jones got traded for Glenn Rice in 1999. Tell me if I'm right. And Robert Cedric Sabalos got traded for Robert Horry in either 97 or 98 to the Phoenix Suns. Robert Horry was with the Suns. People think that Robert Horry came from Houston. No. Robert Horry came from Phoenix. Robert Horry threw a towel in Danny Ainge's face. And Danny Ainge was the coach of the Phoenix Suns. And when Robert Horry threw the towel in Danny Ainge's face, they were like, you got to get his ass up out of here. And the Lakers traded Sabalos back to Phoenix for Robert Horry. Look me up, see if I'm right. Yeah, Eddie's one of the Lakers' all-time great players. See, this is the reason why. See y'all see how clear my basketball memory is. Do y'all now understand why I stand on what I say when I talk basketball? Because unlike the other niggas that was reading stats, I was actually watching these games. Like I used to read the paper every day. I was super dyslexic, and so what helped me get better at reading was reading the paper. I would read this starting in the sixth grade, seventh grade, to help me get over my dyslexia and my struggle reading. I read the paper every day, and I read the sports section and the business section. So I would do this shit. So this basketball is etched in my mind. So can't nobody talk to me about basketball. And I'll get people. And what would really be funny is I'll get somebody on my Instagram that's like 30 years old, or y'all see niggas in Craig Facts. You niggas will be like 35, 30, talking to me about basketball and why and about Kobe. I'm like, nigga, do you realize Kobe was a rookie my 10th grade year? Nigga, do you realize I saw Michael Jordan used to play on WGN, and WGN used to come to LA. We got cable in 1990. I saw every fucking Michael Jordan game from 1990 to the day he retired. I saw every LeBron James game. I've seen almost every Kevin Durant game. So when I be talking about basketball, I'm talking about from what I saw watching the game. I watch these games on mute and listen to music. And I be having somebody that didn't even see this shit. You only know what ESPN told you, and you want to talk to me about basketball? All right, all right. Yeah. Somebody asked, why do you think Russ don't fit in? What happened to his game? I guess you know something. You must not have listened to me. You must not. I won't say listen to me. You must not have heard me on Craig Back or my show. I told you guys before the season started, Russell Westbrook wouldn't work with the Lakers because Russell Westbrook and LeBron James have the same game, penetrate kick, and the Lakers don't have the shooters who penetrate kick. Russell Westbrook's not working because he and LeBron James occupy the same space on the court, and they both the ball dominant. So Russell Westbrook isn't getting the same rhythm he used to get. When Russell Westbrook is on the court, he gets to touch the ball every single fucking play and dominate where the ball's going to go. He doesn't get to do that and when he's with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's catch and shoot. Kevin Durant's two dribble pull up. Kevin Durant's not ball dominant. Kevin Durant gets his buckets in two dribbles. So he could play off Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant doesn't need to dominate the ball to get 30 points. Kevin Durant gives you 30 points on 14 shots. So with with LeBron James and Russell Westbrook occupying the same space on the court and no shooting, see, they both need great shooting because without shooting, defenses get to sag in and clog passing lanes. So the combination of the both is the reason why it's not working. Because LeBron James is not going to compromise his game. Everyone else has to compromise their game around him. So that's why Russell Westbrook, it appears he's struggling. There's another thing. People like West. There's no such thing as West Coast bias. You can't even prove bias. Like, I mean, you niggas be tripping me out. You niggas be like biased. Can't anybody just have an opinion? Well, okay, if you're projecting my West Coast bias, well then I can say you have a bias wherever you come from. Okay, how about that? How about that? Think like West Coast bias. Prove my West Coast bias. How am I how am I biased to the West Coast? How do you quantify bias? How? Tell me. Explain, please. You're right, Miss Black D. You're right. Yeah. He said, yep, J.A. Adonde. I miss when he was right for LA Times. I hated Bill Plaskey then, and I can't stand Bill Plaskey now. Jim Murray was a good LA Times writer. What's up, Apple Cider? So let me see here. Yeah, shouts out. Shouts out, Apple Cider. I can't believe somebody here said I'm West Coast biased. Like, how do you prove that? Of course, I love my LA players. Somebody said I'm West Coast biased, but I can't stand Paul George or DeMar DeRozan is doing something now, but I guarantee you DeMar DeRozan will choke in the playoffs. I've always been very honest about West Coast players. I've done nothing but for Westbrook's whole career say that Westbrook is a team killer. You can't win with him because he takes bad shots. How the fuck do I have a West Coast bias? I, on one hand, acknowledge the greatness of people like Westbrook, but at the same time, I'm super honest. You can't win with the nigga. Paul George and DeMar DeRozan, both of the niggas gonna put up good stats, but they're gonna crumble under pressure. I'm very honest about that. So how the hell can I have a West Coast bias? Well, I'm trying to figure this shit out. Yeah, the Thunder are a joke. The Thunder drafted all their players. All the Thunder needed was two shooters. That's all they needed. That's all they needed. Oh, and a better coach. A coach that can actually draw up plays for them to win in important moments of the game. That's us. If the Thunder had a coach and two shooters, even if they had one shooter, if they had anybody at shooting guard other than Andre Roberson in 2016, they would have beat the Warriors. The Warriors were to beat them because the Warriors played a matchup zone against Kevin Durant, put two on him, and zoned the third. Whoever was guarding Roberson would double up on Kevin Durant, and whoever Kendrick Perkins was guarding would zone to Kevin Durant's side. So after two dribbles, Kevin Durant was getting triple teamed. If he had if he had a shooting guard that could actually hit and knock shots down, they would have won. But the Thunder was fucking stupid. They got rid of James Harden and not Russell Westbrook. They could have kept James Harden with $80 million. 80 million was enough to keep James Harden, and they let him walk. No, I don't go hard for West Coast players. Don't compare me to you. I'm honest about West Coast players. If a West Coast player proves himself, I'm gonna be honest about that. If he don't, he don't. I don't go any harder for West Coast players than I do anyone else I go. I'm all about winning. Shit, my favorite player in the league is Kyrie Irving. And I hate New York, but he's from New York. My favorite player in the league is Kyrie Irving. Kevin Durant. He's from Baltimore. See, that's the thing. As much as I talk, that's like one of the most frustrating parts about being someone who talks as much as I do. At the end of the day, people gonna hear what they hear. It almost don't even matter what you say. And this isn't a criticism of any one person. This is just human nature. This isn't about any one person in Zoom or in general. This is just life. No matter what you say, people are going to hear what they hear. They're going to take whatever you say And whatever biases they have in their own mind, that's going to filter what you say. So what happens all the time is you get people coming back to you, be like, you said this, you said that. And I'd be like, nigga, I didn't say none of that shit. Matter of fact, everything I say is recorded. Show me where I said that. And they could never show me where I said what they said I said. Because people hear what you say with their own filters. But this is something that I learned. I'm cool with it. It just is what it is. Like, this was like part of my major. My major was what I got my degree in is in communication studies. And one of our classes we took in communication, one of our classes was communication theory. Communication theory is a very hard. That was one of the hardest classes I ever took in college. Communication theory 440. Nigga, that's when you start theorizing how people listen, and we started really breaking down how a person's personal experience can alter what they hear. Nigga, that shit's deep. This shit's a science, y'all. So that's why I don't get. When I It used to be frustrating, but it ain't as frustrating as it used to be. But it's still pretty frustrating. You can only say what you say, but people are going to hear what they hear. Like if a person is biased to where they come from, if a person has a bias to their home, whenever they see someone else speaking probably in their home, they're going to automatically assume that person has a bias. When no, they could just be speaking proudly of their home. There's no bias. Nigga, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, my bias is basketball. My bias is basketball. I like players that are competitive, that compete real strong against each other and win. I like competitive basketball players. That's what I like. That's my bias. If you can hoop and you hella competitive when you hoop, and you hella competitive when you hoop, I got a bias towards you. Like somebody said West Coast guys has poor fundamentals. Um, Kawhi Leonard has poor fundamentals. Paul George. I don't like Paul George as a player, but the last thing you're gonna say about Paul George and DeMar DeRozan is they have poor fundamentals. James Harden has poor fundamentals. James Harden added a whole new move to the NBA last 5 years. The step back side step. The side step back, the move that Luka and everyone else is doing right now. James Harden brought that move to the game. You could only do that game. You could only Euro step like James Harden with great fundamentals. You can't do what James Harden does with poor fundamentals. You mean tell me the Ball brothers, LiAngelo Ball, has poor fundamentals? LiAngelo Ball is the most fundamentally sound young player in the NBA. He has poor fundamentals? What the fuck are you talking about? Paul Pierce? Poor fundamentals? What are you talking about? Where are these poor fundamentals from West Coast players? See, that's what I mean. The person that said I have a bias, you saying some really biased shit. This nigga said they have West Coast players have poor fundamentals. Like what? Paul George is like the most fundamental. Like Paul George is one of the five most fundamentally sound players in the NBA, and so is Kawhi Leonard. At least two of the five most fundamentally sound players in the NBA come from LA. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. The fuck are you talking about? See what I mean? This was the person that accused me of having a West Coast bias. All I gotta do is just tell the truth, and it's what? I could take a lot of. I could see, like, at least make sense. This motherfucker said West Coast player Paul. Like you don't get more fundamentally sound than Paul Pierce. Like what the fuck? West Coast players have poor fundamentals. What, nigga? What? Okay, Westbrook does. Westbrook is lacking in the fundamental category. Okay, but after Westbrook, what other LA players lacking in fundamentals other than what Russell Westbrook? Name them. LA has like LA keeps players in the NBA. So always at least 30 or 40 players in the NBA from LA. Other than Russell Westbrook, name one LA player that has poor fundamentals. One. If you just in entirely, you don't understand what fundamentals are. Oh, there's definitely such thing as objectivity. There's definitely a thing of objectivity. You can be objective. It's a choice. You just got to remove yourself from your ego. If you remove yourself from your ego, you can be objective. But if you're tied to your ego, then no, you cannot be objective. Your ego is going to filter everything. If you know how to disconnect from your ego, then you can be objective. When you understand that you're not the center of the universe, when you understand that you're an observer of the universe, then you can be objective. But when you feel yourself as the center of the universe, then no, you can't be objective. If everything has to approve your approval list, then no, you can't be objective. You're right. The O'Bannon brothers had good fundamentals. Reggie Miller had good fundamentals. Reggie Miller had great fundamentals. What are you talking about? He's had an ugly jump shot. You don't shoot 91% from the free throw line without good fundamentals. When it comes down to fundamentals, that free throw line, I tell you, Klay Thompson from Southern California, he has great fundamentals. The way Reggie Miller, do you remember how Reggie Miller used to run off screens? Like running off of screens is a skill set that goes into fundamental. You have to be fundamentally sound to curl off of screens and get your feet in position to shoot a jump shot. That is like when it comes down to fundamentals, running and curling off of a screen, catching a pass, turning and shooting for three, that requires extremely good fundamentals. Players make it look easy. Players make it look easy, but no, that takes hella fundamentals to curl off of a screen. What? Reggie Miller can post up and shoot over both shoulders? That's fundamentals. To be able to shoot off either shoulder, that's fundamentals. Yeah, Trevor Reason went to my high school, Westchester. That's real talk knowledge, Warren. People accuse you of seeing race, yeah. It's usually a racist motherfucker that's going to accuse everybody else of seeing race. That's because you're a racist motherfucker. You know what I mean? You're right about that. Reggie Miller didn't travel every time. You get 2.5 steps. You get 2.5 steps, and nobody took advantage of 2.5 steps more than James Harden. James Harden is such a fundamentally sound basketball player. His skill set is through the roof. But the media trains you dumb niggas that be when I'm not yes, if this applies to you, then it applies to you. The media trains you dumb niggas to pick apart every part of the black player's game. But then when it comes to players like Luka and Jokic, the white boys, you only talk about what's good. Nigga, James Harden is one of the most fundamentally great players we've ever seen. You don't gotta like him, but since when do you just again talking to the men? This is just to the fellas. Ladies, sit back. Men, since when the fuck does it matter if you like another man or not? I mean, for real, fellas. Since when does it matter that you, as a grown man, like another grown? Why is like even, or people talk about hate? Why does that even come up in sports talk? You can prefer one player's game of like, or certain players you may not. I don't like that player like that. But I mean, you can not like a player, but still like see that they're like supremely skilled. You can not. It's cool to not like somebody, but still see their talent. The way this nigga James Harden shifts players, the reason why he's able to get to the cup so easy because he knows how to turn your hips. Like the way he gets defenders to turn their hips and explode the minute he gets them to turn their hips, the way he can explode with his first step and then get to the side of them and use his body against them and use their weight against, that's skill, nigga. To be able to do a step back 3-pointer from 30 feet, nigga, you ain't gotta like it, but shit. When they like, man, he's sorry. Man, he dribble too much. Man, that dude, he do this. Man, he do. Man, y'all sound like whining hoes when y'all do that kind of shit. For real, for real. Now, you ain't gotta like it, but damn. This nigga said foreign players, that's another cliche. No, foreign players don't learn fun. Look, no. You listen to too many white people, Norris, son. Like, do you watch? Luca is a dumbed down, far less fundamental version than James Harden. Luca wishes he had James Harden's fundamentals. Giannis don't have great fundamentals. Giannis is lanky. Giannis is 6'11". Giannis is 6'11". Giannis shoots. Giannis is a terrible free throw shooter. Giannis, he's now this season, he's learning to shoot over his right shoulder. Giannis is in what, his 7th or 8th season, and he's just now learning how to shoot over his right shoulder. The fuck do you mean he's fundamentally sound? He should have had that shot in this game six seasons ago. The, to be 6'10" and have an over the shoulder shot, Giannis should have had that part of his game by his 3rd season. He just now added that to his game in his 8th season. No, he's not, nigga. Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is the two most fundamentally sound players offensively in the game is Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, the most fundamentally offensively sound players in the NBA. I think some Europeans got more fundamentals. No, the fuck. They always say that shit. If Europeans were so fundamentally sound, they'd be dominating the NBA, and they're not. Nigga, the most fundamental players always are foundational Black Americans. James and Harden and Tracy McGrady got way different ways of scoring. Tracy McGrady is probably a better all around scorer than James Harden because Tracy McGrady can post up and he's 6'10". But James Harden, his dribbles is ridiculous. Sports are scripted to an extent. To an extent, sports are scripted. To an extent. Yeah, Bruce Giannis is very clumsy. Yeah, John traveling. Dominique Wilkins, what the fuck you mean? Dominique Wilkins is one of the greatest scorers of all time, fundamentally sound. And second of all, Dominique Wilkins is also 3 inches shorter than Giannis. He didn't post up it. Dominique Wilkins is a face-up player. If you're 6'10", you got to go over the shoulder. There should be some shit you got in college. Different heights, different skill sets required, homeboy. Dominique Wilkins, they make it. See, for you niggas that wasn't around, they tell y'all that Jordan was just dominating the league, that everybody bowed down. Nigga, that's just not true. I remember back in the 80s, if Jordan dropped 40, Dominique dropped 38 that same night. Then the next night, Dominique would drop 40 and Jordan dropped 37. Them niggas was always back and forth. The thing that put Jordan ahead of Dominique Wilkins was Jordan got Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson. If Dominique got Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson, he would have won championships too. Because Dominique and Jordan were like neck and neck. Them niggas was even in the 80s. Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan in the 80s, them niggas was equal. Bird was a little older. Jordan and Wilkins like one season apart. I won't say T Mac couldn't draw fouls like Harden. T Mac didn't look to draw fouls like Harden. See what Harden does. See, you got to realize Kobe brought that into the game. One of the wrinkles that Kobe brought to the game was that, like, look, Reggie Miller brought in like kicking your feet out to draw. The wrinkle that Reggie Miller brought to the NBA was kicking your feet out to get a foul call on a 3-point shot. Kobe took that and made Kobe never kicked his feet out, but Kobe brought in that the pump faking. Kobe's way would be the pump fake to get to the free throw line. Kobe really knew how. Kobe was the greatest guard at getting to the free throw line. James Harden saw what Kobe did and took it to another level with the way he gets to the cup. James Harden kind of expanded on what Kobe was doing, getting those 3-point plays. T Mac didn't really incorporate that into his game. But that's something that Kobe put into his game later in his career. Kobe, by the time T Mac started to get later in his career, he had all the fucking injuries. Hakeem was dope fundamentally. He wasn't more fundamentally sound than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem was the most fundamentally sound center. It's the reason why Kareem shot scored. No one's ever been able. There's a reason why no one has ever been able to imitate Kareem's shot. Like, do we forget that Kareem, the skyhook, was a shot that no player has been able to duplicate since? It's because it takes. You have to be so fundamentally sound to get the footwork down on that hook shot. Nigga. But I put Hakeem is up there, but no, Kareem hook shot, no. The footwork. And Kareem hit that hook shot with both hands over both shoulders. That's the most difficult shot in the NBA to make. That's why no one's done it since, because it's too hard. No one's ever going to pass the person that created a shot that's too hard for anyone else to duplicate. That's where you win. And that shot got you 38,000 points? Shit. The thing that Michael Jordan benefited from the most, Mike benefited from a watered down NBA. You got to realize in the 80s when Magic was dominating, it was 24 teams. Between 88 and 96, 6 new teams got added to the NBA. And again, you guys can Google me on here. I don't know if my dates are exactly right, but I'm going to be somewhat right. It was like either 88 or 89. That's when the Orlando Magic and the Miami Heat came, and the Charlotte Hornets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Those 4 teams came like within 2 years of each other, like somewhere between 88 and 90. That's when those 4 teams came into the NBA. The Minnesota Timberwolves, Miami Heat, Orlando Magic, and Charlotte Hornets. And then like in 95 or 96, 95, that's when the Toronto Raptors and Vancouver Grizzlies came in, which is now the Memphis Grizzlies. Michael Jordan benefited from the NBA diluting its talent. Teams weren't as good. You still had a bunch of good players, but while Michael Jordan had Scottie Pippen, Reggie Miller never had anyone as good as Scottie Pippen. Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, these guys didn't have anyone as good as Scottie Pippen because teams were diluted down. If Mitch Richmond teamed with Reggie Miller in his prime, I guarantee you they would have had 2 of those Bulls championships. Nigga, if Patrick Ewing had a teammate as strong, if Patrick Ewing had Reggie Miller on the squad, he would have won. They would have won 2 or 3 championships together. The NBA was hella diluted. Let me tell y'all how bad. Here is the defining thing you can tell everybody when you want to talk about how diluted the NBA was during the 90s. People forget this. The NBA shortened this 3-point line from 94 to 96. Go look it up. Shooting was so bad in the NBA, they had to shorten the 3-point line. That's how bad shooting was in the NBA. That's how fucking watered down 90s basketball was. And Jordan benefited from that. Jordan always had the better team. That's the part that they had to leave out. Jordan's team was always clearly better than the other team, top to bottom. Yeah, Jordan had think about it. When Jordan had to play against Sean Kemp in the Sonics, he had and Karl Malone in the Rockets. I mean, in the Jazz, he had fucking Dennis Rodman. At the time, Sean Kemp and Karl Malone were the best power forwards in the game at the time. But Jordan had Dennis Rodman, the best defender at power forward. And before that, he had Horace Grant. People like to forget how great Horace Grant was. This is how great Horace Grant was. After he went to the 3 straight finals with the Bulls, this motherfucker went to Orlando and took Orlando back to the finals. Now they got swept, but that shows you how good Horace Grant is. No matter where he went, they won. The year the Lakers had their best playoff run in 2001, when the Lakers went 15-1 in 2001 in the playoffs, Horace Grant was the starting power forward. So Horace Grant was great. Nigga, Horace Grant did not miss from 20 feet. They run that triangle pinch post action. The pinch post in a triangle will be when you see the guard come down the court. The power forward will flash to the top of the key, and then when the power forward flashes to the top of the key, he basically run a brush screen. That's when the passer goes down, and if the lane is open, they'll run high-low. The power forward will throw it down to the guard for the layup. If that's not open, the guard will lay a pin down. Then either Jordan or Pippen will curl off the screen. If that wasn't open and the defender was sagging off, you had an open 20-footer. This nigga Horace Grant never missed. He always either made the right pass, and if the defender sagged off and covered Jordan or covered whoever the pass lane was, Horace Grant knocked that motherfucking shot down every time. It's another reason why I can't listen to a lot of these other niggas when it comes to basketball. I can tell you what plays these niggas is running. Hell yeah, the Rockets would have won if MJ retired her. The MJ did not want to see Hakeem Olajuwon. The Rockets used to blow the fucking Bulls out. Even Phil Jackson said the Bulls had nothing for Hakeem. The Bulls had absolutely nothing for Hakeem. Nothing. Now, if you want to talk about greatness, Hakeem, he won without an all-star teammate in 94. And by the time he got Clyde Drexler in 95, that was old Clyde Drexler. That Clyde Drexler that was on the Rockets, he wasn't as good as he was on the Blazers. He had lost at least a third of his game by the time Clyde Drexler lost at least a third of his game by the time he got to the Rockets. Now, I don't do sports betting. I don't fuck with that. I don't do sports betting. I watch basketball for love. Hmm. Yeah, man. Look at this. Yeah, Jordan, man. Jordan was the NBA marketing high job. Now, I ain't saying he wasn't great. Jordan was Jordan was the greatest player of the 90s. That's it. Jordan dominated the 90s. He was the best player of the 90s. That's it. Shaq was the best player of the late 90s, early 2000s. Kobe was the best player of the early 2000s through the rest of the decade. LeBron held on to the best player for a while. Kevin Durant held on to best player for a while. I think Kevin Durant's still the best player in the league now. But everybody hold the title of best player in the league for a season, and then it's on to the next. Jordan had his season. Hell no, that nigga ain't the greatest. He's the greatest for that time. Yeah, King would do that, draw centers out. But don't forget, Shaq had face-up game too. Shaq used to tear Tim Duncan's asses up. Sometimes Shaq, go look at Shaq. Sometimes Shaq will face, because they used to run that twin tower system against Shaq with David Robinson and Tim Duncan. So there's plenty of times where, because Shaq didn't want to face that double team, he would draw Tim Duncan out and cross that nigga up. Shaq has crossed Tim Duncan up a few times. Let's not forget. Let's not forget. And the 90s was a hack. He's a hack. People always say they play better defense in the 90s. Well, one, the rules allowed you to head check. But two, they used to hack. A lot of that defense was hacking too in the 90s. Let's just tell the truth. If Len Bias lived, hell nah, Jordan wouldn't. Len Bias, and he would have gone to the Celtics too. No, Jordan would not have 6 championships if Len Bias lived. Jordan still would have been a champion, no doubt. I still believe Jordan would have been a champion. But he wouldn't have won 6 if Len Bias lived. I'll tell you that goddamn much. Why would you want your center to hit game winners, Devin? Of course, Shaq didn't hit a lot of game winners. You never want your centers don't hit game winners. It's hard for centers to hit game winners. You know why? Because centers, you have to get the ball to them. And teams can double off centers, double on the centers, and make it very hard to get a center of the ball, especially back then. The rules when Shaq played. And so by the time you actually get your center of the ball, you've already run 7 or 8 seconds off the shot clock. So it's not even feasible for your center to be someone that hits the game winners. You want your game winners to be in the hands of guards, because guards can get the ball right out of bounds. Centers, you got to run plays to get them the ball. And depending on how good the team you're playing, it can be extremely hard to get your center the ball. So you don't really run game-winning plays for your center. It's just too many things that can go wrong. It's just not feasible. And on top of that, you double ain't gonna run game-winning plays for Shaq when you have Kobe on your team. Kobe's the fucking greatest at that. That wouldn't even be smart to run game-winning plays for Shaq when you have Kobe on your squad. And if Kobe can't hit the shots, you got Robert Horry in the corner over there. And if he ain't open, you got Derek Fisher in the other corner. Derek Fisher, one of the most Derek Fisher wasn't. Derek Fisher and Robert Horry would be 2 players that would be fumbling and stumbling and fucking up all game, turning the ball over, making dumb plays. But when it came time to win the game, them niggas was gonna hit their shots. So it wouldn't even be feasible to throw the ball down to Shaq for a game winner when you got Kobe on your team. That'd just be bad. Honestly, that'd just be bad coaching. That would honestly be bad coaching. Hell yeah, smoking grooves is worth it. I spent $300 on them tickets. Standing, man, that shit was great. Worth it though. Hell yeah. Shaq hit. Look, Shaq didn't hit free throws throughout the game, but when it came time to win, Shaq hit his free throws. Got to give a big fella his respect. As a Lakers fan, we used to get on Shaq's ass about his free throws. Lakers fans used to boo Shaq over his free throws sometimes. But when it came time to win, if it was late in games, Shaq always hit his late game free throws. 2 minutes left in the game, Shaq hit them free throws. Go back and watch that game against Sacramento, Game 7. Shaq made his free throws. Go back and watch that game against the Portland Trailblazers in Game 7 when Lakers had to come back. Shaq hit his free throws. Shit. Go back and watch Game 1 and Game 5 of the NBA Finals against the Indiana Pacers. Shaq hit his free throws. Shaq is going to hit his free throws when the game is on the line. He may miss the rest of them. Shaq, the funny thing about Shaq would be like 2 for 8 from the free throw line. This nigga would be like 3 for 11 from the free throw line. But then the game would be like a minute and a half left. The Lakers down 1. This nigga Shaq was going to make both of them free throws. And end the game. At the end of the game, Shaq was 5 for 15 from the free throw line. But he made his last 3. And the Lakers won by 2. That's how Shaq used to be. But most of Shaq's free throws will come off of rebounds. Like, Lakers didn't really run much for him. They ran plays for Kobe. But someone to miss Shaq, get the rebound foul. That nigga was going to make them free throws. That's real talk knowledge, Warner. Yeah, they tried to get that ball to Ewing for the Knicks. And it's hard to get when defenses know the ball is going to the post, it's easy for defenses to collapse, especially if you don't have shooters. The Knicks didn't have shooters. John Starks was a streaky shooter, and I forgot who the other wing was on the Knicks. Doug Christie, he was a wing for a while over there. A few other players. Them niggas, they weren't knockdown shooters. So whoever fucking was guarding Charles Smith or whoever was guarding John Starks, they would just sag in on Ewing and make the ball really hard to get it to him. I keep telling y'all, basketball is a game of chess. Basketball is a game of geometry. Hack-a-Shack. See, I don't know. If you watched too many Laker games back in the day. Not Darrell. Whoever said Hack-a-Shack. Devin, I don't know if you watched too many Laker games back in the day. But Hack-a-Shack never worked. Hack-a-Shack became a slogan that Phil Jackson actually called it when he was with the Bulls. That shit never worked. They would foul Shaq. They would do all that Hack-a-Shack shit. And then by the third or fourth time they would Hack-a-Shack, Shaq could get a rhythm and start making his free throws. Hack-a-Shack never cost the Lakers a game. Not regular season, not playoffs. Never. They would go to Hack-a-Shack because when the Lakers would get going in that triangle and that ball get on down there in the post, they couldn't do shit. It was a guaranteed 2 points because Shaq was about to score on their ass. So like, let's just foul this nigga. Hopefully he just make 1. Shit, but by that third time in a row they fouled Shaq, that nigga was making all his free throws. That Hack-a-Shack shit never worked. Yeah, man, I do Raoul Prince Jackson. He was that nigga. I remember he was my favorite players to watch play when I was a kid. Kobe, Shaq, them niggas. I remember one of my homeboys, he's a coach for the Lakers. He said it was one time Shaq had went too far with Kobe. And Kobe rushed Shaq. And he said, I'm not gonna say either player won. He said, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, it took like 4 coaches to pull Kobe off Shaq. And he was one of the coaches that had to pull Kobe off Shaq. That's a true story. He was like, he said, I didn't see anybody get any clean punches in, but we had to pull Kobe up off that nigga. This was like in 2003 when Kobe was going through that trial. Mm, yeah, shit, what else y'all talking about? I'm gonna try to do a show tomorrow. I thought I was gonna be able to do a show tomorrow. I don't know yet, y'all, because tomorrow, today's equinox. I'm gonna be on Fox Soul tomorrow morning at well, the show's gonna air like on Wednesday, but I'm filming Fox Soul tomorrow at 10 in the morning. But I think they said it's gonna air on Wednesday. It's gonna be like on Zoom though. So I don't think anybody took over Chris Jackson. Nobody knew what was going on with Chris Jackson, aka Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. I realized there wasn't no internet back then. The internet wasn't. It wasn't. Sports Center used to have wood chopping shows on TV in the middle of the day. There was no partner interruption back then. There was no first take. Those shows didn't exist back when Chris Jackson went through what he went through. ESPN was basically just Sports Center, and after Sports Center, like in the daytime, before Sports Center came on, they had fucking tree chopping contests and fucking water skiing events on ESPN. It wasn't, and players couldn't self. Players were beholden to the media. If the media didn't report it, didn't nobody know. So didn't nobody know what was going on with Chris Jackson back then, like that. Especially players. Players come and go. It'd be a lot of niggas in the league that should like. One thing about the NBA, the talent is crazy in the NBA. It's plenty of niggas that should be in the NBA that's not in the NBA for whatever reason. So if a player is playing and they trying to make the best out their career, they're not gonna notice why you ain't playing. Shit, when Chris Jackson had his when Abdul Roof got banned, that was 94, 95. You got Shaq dealing with media pressure to win a championship. He ain't thinking about no other player. So it was a different time with when Chris Jackson went through his thing. We didn't know what was going on. It's not like today where you can get where a player in today's world, a player can use their own Twitter and tweet what's going on. Players couldn't tweet what was going on back then. If Sports Illustrated or ESPN didn't pick up the story didn't get told. The Chris Jackson stuff came to light later on. Matter of fact, the Chris Jackson story is a bigger story now than it was in '95. Yeah, the internet wasn't shit till about '05. You right about that shit. Internet wasn't up back before '05. Internet wasn't nothing but Yahoo chat rooms, a page, or you can read the digital version of the newspaper. Only had didn't have the whole paper in it. Only a few things. Shit, the internet wasn't like it is now. Yeah, yeah, man. I was here for. I mean, I got my. I first got the internet in '95, '94, '95. I was 15 when I got the no 14, 15 years old when I got on the internet. I'm one of them OGs on this shit. Yahoo chat. No, Shaq could not have had. Let me tell you something about the NBA. Players play, owners own. Let me tell you something that I want everybody to remember. Players don't have control over shit, relatively speaking. Now, LeBron has had a lot of control over which players come to his team, and you may have a player that can say, okay, every now and again you may get a player. Who else? LeBron has had some kind of control like that. LeBron probably had the most control of any player ever as far as the moves the team makes. But when it comes to the Lakers, when Jerry Buss owned the team, and for the most part, all owners, players don't have no control over especially and if they and if Mahmoud Abdul Rauf or Craig Hodges was blackballed. That a player don't have control over that. If the commissioner David Stern said this motherfucker ain't playing, then guess what? This motherfucker ain't playing. And furthermore, the Lakers under Jerry Buss, the Lakers, man, players had no control under Jerry Buss. I mean, that's one reason why Shaq left. Shaq used to want certain players, Jerry Buss. Now, if Jerry Buss wanted that same player, then it was cool. But Jerry Buss wasn't gonna listen to no fucking player. When it came to signing talent, hell nah. The Lakers didn't listen to Kobe when they had a chance to get Baron Davis. Kobe wanted them to get Baron. That's why Kobe ended up wanting to leave that one season. Kobe wanted Baron Davis or Jason Kidd. The Lakers had a chance to get either Baron Davis or Jay. They could have gotten either one, and Kobe wanted them. And you know what Mitch Kupchak said? Nope. Fuck you, Kobe. That's not the direction the team wants to go. Players ain't got no control. Players play, owners own. It's like your job. NBA, let me tell you something. The NBA is no different than your job. I'm telling you, the way your job works is the way the NBA works. You got people in the NBA, the players are the line staff. Meaning if you work at a grocery store, the players are the people that's working the checkout stand. The people working the checkout stand don't have no say over what the store manager does, which is the coach. The store manager ain't got no say over what the regional manager does, which is the general manager. And the regional manager ain't got no say over what the CEO does, which is the owner. It works the same fucking way at your job as it works in the NBA. Remember that. Remember that. NBA, players play, coaches coach, owners own. And no lines get blurred. I promise you. Promise you. He said, "You're right, Ruben. They got He said they got clause in the contracts to fly right. You damn right about that. Yeah, Magic got a coach fired. Yeah, players can get coaches fired, but that's only if the owner agrees. If the owner says no, then no. Jerry Buss and Magic had that relationship. The reason why the coach got fired, what's his name? I haven't seen this. I don't even know if they talk about it yet on that show. But the reason why Bill Sharman, I think it was Lakers coach. That was Sharman. It wasn't Bill Sharman. Was it Bill Sharman? No. Sharman was Lakers coach for 72. Who was Lakers coach? It was it Westhead? The reason why Westhead got fired is because Magic wanted to run point guard, and Westhead wanted Norm Nixon to stay at point guard. But guess what? The owner, Jerry Buss, also wanted Magic to run point guard. So yeah, it was easy to fire the coach because Magic and the owner, Jerry Buss, wanted the same thing. So the coach got to go. That's why Magic had the power to get the coach fired. Now, if the coach wanted to run what the owner, Jerry Buss, wanted to run, then Magic would have been gone. You see how that worked? Magic got the coach fired because the owner agreed with Magic. That's how that works. Yep. Yep, Chris, you remember that when Shaq yelled at Jerry Buss, "Pay me," and for people I know who work within the Lakers, that was the moment Jerry Buss decided to trade Shaq because Shaq had recruited Karl Malone and Gary Payton, and Shaq wanted all that money, but Shaq didn't stay in shape. Shaq would come that same season. Shaq waited like a month before the season to have surgery. Jerry Buss was tired of that, and he saw Kobe working out like crazy. He wasn't about to give Shaq $100 million. And Shaq had just gotten to the finals. And then when Shaq said "pay me" to the cameras to Jerry Buss was like, "All right, nigga, Get your ass out of here. Yeah. You see, break down. No, there's no reason for me to break down a music, Beatles music brain trash. You can hear it and find that out. I appreciate the request, brother, but now I'm not gonna break down why the Beatles are trash because that means I'd actually have to play their music, and the last thing I want to do is play the fucking Beatles on my show. Ooh, that music sucks. Oh, you got if you want to know why the Beatles are trash, just play the Beatles and then play Earth and Fire next, and you'll find out real fast why they trash. Play the Beatles, then play nigga. Yeah, you ain't gotta go. Shit, play the Beatles, then play Slide in the Family Stone, and you'll see quickly why the Beatles suck. Play the Beatles and play Chuck Berry, and you'll see real fast why the Beatles suck. Yeah, nah, that's how I go. Yeah, a superstar player can get a coach fired, but again, a superstar player could only get a coach fired when the owner and the GM agree. When the GM agrees, that's the problem. If the GM don't agree, then no. But you got to realize LeBron is the NBA's player. He's the NBA's cash cow. The cash cow players are going to get what they want during their prime years, as far as coaches. Coaches are very expendable in the NBA. But again, go back to your job. You can get your boss fired too. Let your boss do some bullshit, and you catch him. Now, if your boss is on some bullshit, you can get your boss fired, your immediate boss. Now, you probably you can't get the GM fired, but you can get your immediate supervisor fired if they do something wrong, they do something that's not right. If you catch your immediate supervisor doing something that the owner or the general manager doesn't like, you can get them fired too. Hmm. So yeah, that whole Kobe Chris Paul thing, that was the NBA. I remember I was there when the lockout happened. I was out of players I used to work with during that lockout. And I remember I was monitoring that lockout the whole time it was going on. What happened was, as soon as the lockout was over with, what happened was the what happened was the Lakers made that trade, and Dan Gilbert, the owner of the Cavs, and Mark Cuban, the owner of the Mavericks, they both called Commissioner Stern and was like, hold on. The Lakers keep winning all these championships. We basically, part of the reason, because remember, Dan Gilbert and Mark Cuban were two of the main reasons why the lockout happened. They pushed for the lockout to save money. They wanted a 50-50 split between the players and the owners, and they wanted that hard cap. Because they figured that hard cap would stop the Lakers from winning so many championships. And so when the Lakers put off that trade for Chris Paul, it was Dan Gilbert and Mark Cuban that complained to Commissioner Stern. And so since the NBA owned the New Orleans Hornets at the time, Commissioner Stern vetoed the trade. That's how the story originally was discussed. Now they since revised history. They since so if you look back at that story, they're going to tell a whole new story now. I'm telling you the story as it happened back in 2012. I'm telling you, my homeboy was a coach on the Lakers back then. He was telling me everything that was going on with that. Like, and they were like, nope, that's what happened. Yes, the NBA is scripted to a certain degree, of course. It's the reason why LeBron gets. Look, have you ever seen a player in NBA history get a new team and get cycled out a new team. And like, go back to the Cleveland 2016 championship team. Go look at the roster in September when the season started, and go look at it again at the players' deadline, trade deadline. When the season started, they had Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, Dwayne Wade, and a bunch of other players, and they were getting their ass kicked. So they basically traded that whole half team at the trade deadline, and they keep cycling players in for him because he is the NBA cash cow. Yeah, that's scripted. That's scripted. That's scripted. That another way the league is scripted is through their awards. These MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, those are political awards, man. MVP goes if a European player is pretty good, they're going to win the MVP. If it's a non-foundational Black American or European, they're going to win MVP. Like look at Jokic, the standard to win MVP. The reason why they said Shaq shouldn't win more than one because Shaq would take time off defense and he wouldn't play hard sometimes. Well, Jokic goes long stretches without playing hard. He has no defense. But they ignored that rule when it came to him. MVP, because you're white. That's how this shit works. Kobe only won one. The reason why T-Mac never won an MVP, when T-Mac averaged 34 points a game that season, and people was like, he should be MVP, they're like, no, Tracy McGrady can't be MVP because he doesn't play defense. Well, a few years later, Steve Nash wins two MVP, only getting 19 points a game and never playing no defense. That's just politics, man. Fucking MVP. What up, Amara? Yeah, yeah. That top 75 was definitely scripted. He right. Shaq's presence alone was defense. Team players didn't even try to attack the basket when Shaq was on the court. Shaq didn't have Shaq didn't have that many blocks because Shaq didn't have to have that many blocks. See, one thing Shaq would do, Shaq would be getting the other team's mind. What would happen will be if someone on the other team tried to challenge the rim early in the game, Shaq would foul the shit out of them. Like Shaq was good for getting a flagrant foul on him. If somebody tried him, Shaq would come up and hip check him and knock him down and flagrant foul your ass. And when Shaq did that, guess what? That player never challenged Shaq the rest of their whole fucking career. Players didn't try Shaq. That's why Shaq didn't have to have a bunch of blocks. Because other players were scared as fuck of Shaq putting them on their ass. So they didn't even challenge Shaq. I agree, Bruce. I thought either Kobe or Jason Kidd. I really thought Jason Kidd, even more so than Kobe. Even though Kobe averaged 30 points a game in '02, I thought Jason Kidd deserved an MVP because he took New Jersey from worst to first. People forget New Jersey Nets before Jason Kidd got there were the Clippers of the East. The New Jersey Nets hadn't been shit since Dr. J was with them. New Jersey Nets wasn't shit. This nigga Jason Kidd get there, they go to the finals 2 years in a row. Kenyon Martin was a rookie. No, he's in the second year. Richard Jefferson was a rookie. His his two next best players was in their first year and rookie year respectively. I mean, first year and second year. Jason Kidd took a team to the finals that hadn't been to the playoffs in over a decade with two players in their first and second year. But the reason why Jason Kidd didn't win MVP is if you look back, I'm going back to my memory and look me up, tell me if I'm wrong. September 2001, I think it's September, August 2001, Jason Kidd had a domestic assault with his wife, like a domestic battery case. And it was like they made it a big story. Google me. Somebody in the chat room right now, Google me, tell me if I'm right or not. If I got the month right. It was sometime in the summer of 2001. Jason Kidd had domestic violence thing, And that's the reason why he didn't win MVP. If Jason Kidd never had that domestic violence suit, the right before the season jumped off in 2002, he would have been MVP. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, when it comes to sports, y'all see me on Craig Facts. It's the reason why I hold my own. What I stand on my square. You niggas that be arguing with me, they heard the story. DwannBrown saw the story, and I got a good ass memory. Once I see the story, I don't forget. So no, I can't have nobody telling me somebody's they're better than this player, and you only remember stats. No, nigga, I remember the game and how they got them stats. Yeah, J Kidd was out drunk driving. Jason Kidd was a wild boy. Let me tell y'all something. When Jason Kidd played, he was a wild boy. I don't know how Jason Kidd didn't get caught up in more lawsuits. I remember one time, and this story came out. Look it up. This story ended up coming out. I think it was like around like 2008, 9. Don't quote me. It's sometime in that pocket. Jason Kidd got some woman complained that he stuck his finger in her pussy. Well, look that shit up. I was in the club that night. I wasn't with Jason Kidd, but I was in that club that night that happened. I remember seeing him. I remember because I was in the table, like I was like 2 tables over from them. Go look that story up. I think it was like '08 or '09. Jason Kidd, like some woman complained he stuck his finger in her pussy. I was at the club that night. I didn't see it happen. I didn't know it happened. I just saw the thing came out, the story came out, and they said the club name. I was like, oh shit, I was there that night. I remember seeing them two. Yeah. What's up, Robbie Lott? Yep. Yep, Miss Black D. Right. Them niggas broke up because of Tony Braxton. That was a good trio they had there in Dallas. Mashburn, Jim Jackson, and Jason Kidd. And they broke up over Tony Braxton. Simp ass niggas. You'll never break up a friendship. That. Man, Jason Kidd was the one player who could dominate a game without scoring. See, it ain't no Jason Kidd style players in the game right now. Jason Kidd was like the last of a kind. Jason Kidd will have games where he'll have 14 points, 13 assists, and 9 rebounds. But the nigga dominated the whole game. And then you would look at the stat sheet and be like, what do you mean? He only had 14 points, 13 assists, and 9 rebounds. How could he dominate the game? He dictated the pace, dictated the tempo, and played great defense. If Jason Kidd only had 14 points, I guarantee you the nigga he was guarding only had 8. You only got to win by 1 in basketball. You don't need these big 30-point games to be dominant. Because if you score 30 and the man you guarded scores 32, you still lost. You're -2. Jason Kidd used to really dominate a game, like I mean dominate it on both sides of the court, and only score 14 points. Jason Kidd was something special. Yeah, playing and passing like, yep. You're right. Jason Kidd dominated the Knicks in 2014 on one leg. Yeah, nigga. They were Dallas. Look, when Dallas lost to the Miami Heat in '06 in the finals, Dallas had the best team in the NBA that year. Dallas had a better team than the Heat. What Dallas didn't have was somebody that can control pace. That's what they didn't have. In 2011, when they beat the Heat, the Heat were a better team than the Dallas Mavericks. But Jason Kidd controlled the pace. And so since he controlled the pace of the game, Mavericks won. That and LeBron not shooting, only taking 2 shots at fourth quarter. What's up, Hexagon? You're right. Jason Kidd did learn how to shoot threes. They used to call Jason Kidd Ace Kidd. They wouldn't put the J on his name. His nickname was Ace Kidd because he couldn't shoot. Like, we're not going to give you the name Jason. And that nigga ended up retiring top 8 all-time three-pointers made. From a nigga who couldn't shoot at all his first 4 years in the league to retiring top 5 in three-pointers made when he retired. He was top 5 in three-pointers made when he retired. That's incredible. That's incredible. I'm telling you, man, I'm a hoop fan. Yeah, Jason Kidd was a close thing. Was the close thing you can get to Magic. Jason Kidd was the closest you can get to Magic. Man. Shit, I'm about to get out of here, y'all. I want to do a show tomorrow for y'all. I'll see. Cause I do after I do Fox Soul, I got a lot of shit to do. My cousin leaving town, so I want to get back by and see my cousin at their hotel before they get back to Dallas. The Lakers beat them in the final. They lost the Lakers and the Spurs in the finals. The Lakers swept them, and the Spurs beat them 4-1. It was easy money for Shaq. The Nets had Tom McCullough at center. Shaq had easy work. People don't understand. Like, Kobe would get the Lakers through the West. Shaq would dominate the finals. Like, Shaq wasn't that dominant against the Spurs and the Kings. They had good defensive matchups for Shaq with the Spurs and the Kings. Kobe was the one that got him past them teams. When he got to the finals, shit. Tom McCullough, Kobe was no fool. Kobe was no fool. That nigga got Shaq has Tom McCullough guarding him. You're getting the ball every time down the court, guy. MVP. Matt Geiger was on the Sixers the year before that. It was like Tom McCullough and Aaron Foster were the net centers. This nigga, that man, Shaq got the ball every play. Yeah. Shit, love me some basketball. Tell you, nigga ain't got no fucking lights on. Yeah, yeah, Lakers. So that was easy for them that during that run. That finals. Yeah, nigga. Shit, y'all ain't talking about nothing else. I'll get to y'all tomorrow if I can. If not, I'm definitely gonna get at y'all Tuesday. Holla at y'all. Rest in peace. Barbara Morrison died? Or rest in peace? Rest in peace. I've seen her perform plenty of times. Rest in peace, Barbara Morrison. Thanks for letting me know, Chris. I didn't know she died. I'll holla at y'all.